The update command is simpler than the insert command. There's only one flavor of the update command. So still in the CHA2 database, here's the basic syntax of the update command. Update, listing one table, because we can only update one table at a time. And then set one of the columns to a new value. And then you could put a comma and list out more columns if you want to, all within the one set clause. Then finally, the where clause. And the where clause is optional, but if you don't have a where clause there, it'll update that column for every row in the entire table. So here, this will go to the guide table, and then set the qualifications column for guide 6 equal to these 5 very useful qualifications. And execute. Sure enough, if we look at it, the qualifications have been updated and everything's all set. If you need to update a table, we'll call it table A, but to select the rows in table A, you need to reference table B. Maybe you want to update all products where their product category is equal to something. You have to go over to another table to do that. The best way is to use a subquery in the where clause. Another good technique to know about is using a global search and replace. So here we're going to go in and we're going to use the replace command that will replace every LL with just QUA. No real meaning to that, just as an example of replace. I've used this in a production environment where the database was full of extra tabs, and I was able to go through and just remove all the tabs from the data using the replace command. So here in the family database, and there's no where restriction, so this will update every row in the person table, altering the last name so that every LL is replaced with QUA. And it says 32 rows affected. That's every row in the person database. Even if it didn't actually make a change, it still says affected. And let's look at the results. And here right away we can see Halloway was changed to Hakuaway. To demonstrate that you can do some complex calculations right in the update command inside of the T-SQL code, and you don't need to use .NET or some type of front end to accomplish these complex calculations, I put together a sample real-world, there's an oxymoron, right? A sample real-world demo for you. So switch over to TempDB. I've got two tables. The first is a department table. And department simply has department ID. So we can do a link, a name, and a factor for how much that department will receive for their next raise. Here's the employee table. It includes their current salary and their performance rating, and date of hire and date of position. All factors we're going to use in calculating a raise. We'll go ahead and populate it with some sample data. So here's 4 departments and 4 factors for their raises. And then insert several employees, including their current salary, their performance rating, the date of hire, and the date they began in the current position. Just to check the data, and yes, it's all there. So looking at the formula, the years in company, we go ahead and calculate that. Here's a case expression looking at the employee performance rating. If it's greater than or equal to 2, we return the performance rating, otherwise 0 is performance. So that's just basically saying, yes, you have to have a 2 to have an employee performance rating. Then here's the raise factors. This is the basic data we're looking at. Here's the raise amount. It'll look at the date of hire, calculating that as 10%, the date of position as 2%. It'll take their performance rating if it's greater than 2 and give them 50% of that, and come up with a employee raise column. So to execute this, Here's the raise percentage for everyone. Then that entire formula can become part of the update. So all we need to do is say update employee set salary equal to, and here's the entire formula. Then I'm using another version of the update here saying the update from. So although this is not ANSI standard, and it's probably better to do it inside of a where clause with a subquery, T-SQL does allow us to do an update table, set everything, and then say from, and then define out the tables we want to look at. And 8 rows are affected. If we look at the salary, everyone has their raise. So that's a pseudo real-world example of using a complex calculation within an update.